Have Rolls, Dave Matera, to give us his thoughts of the game this evening.
Well, to be truthful, I think the reason Eagles lost tonight is because of Chip Kelly, because he refuses to run the ball. And when you got the best running back and a pretty good offensive line, you got to pound the ball. Pound, pound, pound. From the first quarter through the last. You can't get away from that. You can't outsmart yourself. You got a great running back, the best back in the league, and you got a pretty damn good offensive line. And sometimes these coaches get too carried away with passing, and because the game favors the offense more than the defense with the rules, but still, football's nothing more than basic blocking, and tackle. And you got to do it better than the other team. And you can't get away from running the football only because in the cold weather, running the football wins you the game. Now the Saints, on the other hand, tonight, are not a running team. They're more a passing team. But tonight they turned around and became the running team. And they took control of the game.
By pounding.
And by pounding the ball.
Pounding the ball.
Pounding the ball. And the Eagles did the exact opposite. They didn't pound the ball like they should have. And when McCoy gets the ball, he runs too much east and west. Tries to go around the corners, around the tackles, instead of north and south between the tackles, like he should. Some of the games he did, he had his best runs of the year. And you wear the other team out by the third and fourth quarter, and you take over the game. And the Eagles, and then I can't understand tonight another thing. With a couple minutes to go, let the Saints score. Let them score. That way you get the ball back with a couple minutes to go. And you get a chance to score again to go ahead. Now, the only thing the Saints can do, if you don't let them score, they might refuse to score because they want the clock to run out. That could happen. But the thing is, let them score. When they ran their play, just step aside and let them run all the way in.
Have you ever seen that happen before, Coach?
Yeah, there's been other times that has happened in the league where other teams have done that. And nobody on TV, or I don't know on TV, we were listening to the radio part. So they didn't mention it. I don't know if anyone on TV mentioned it. But it is kind of frustrating. I mean, of course, they did better than most people thought. Most people, like myself, I thought maybe they win 6 games this year. And it's a good thing they won the division and all, but it's a learning process. And Chip's got to learn, you can't outsmart yourself. You go by the basics. You do, not that you can't think outside the box, but when you have a strength, you don't go away from a strength. You never, ever go away from a strength.
Use your strengths.
Huh?
Use your strengths.
Use your strength to your advantage. That's why it's a strength. It's something you have that when you use it, the other team, you got to put fear in the other team. If you go away from the strength, you're playing with weakness then. And you're playing not to win. You're playing not to lose. So you got to play to win. And I'd rather them have gone down tonight if they tried to run the ball. And if they weren't successful, I could live with that. But when you got a strength and you don't use it, and
so you're saying that Chip was actually out-pounded tonight, right?
Chip was out-pounded, out-coached tonight.
And he was...
he'll learn from it. It's a hard lesson. Sometimes you have to learn and learn from your mistakes.
Well, let's hear your view on penetration tonight.
Penetration, well...
When you get penetrated, deep penetration.
When you get penetrated like they got penetrated, you're going to lose because then your defense is out there too long, and by being penetrated like that, you saw the tackling was getting worse as the game went along. They were getting worn out, and they couldn't stop anyone. And that's where the Eagles messed up because if they had done that in the beginning of the game, they would have wore the Saints out first and they would have set the tempo for the game. That's all about imposing your will on the other team. You have to set the tempo.
So you're basically saying it all comes down to pounding and penetration and piercing, correct?
Yes, the 3 Ps. Pounding, penetration, and
passing.
piercing.
Would passing be a fourth P possibly?
No, because it doesn't go with the running game. The passing, I mean, I like passing as much as anything, but you still.
But you prefer penetration over anything?
Well, you
or
still
the
have
or
to
pounding?
have the basics. You have to have the basics. You know, it's like anything else. It's like having a strong shooter in basketball or something and not using them. You know, oh, I'll go away from him. Let the other guys try to beat you when they're not as good. I mean, you can't outsmart people by trying to do the opposite. You outsmart people and you don't have to outsmart people. You just have to do the things that brought you to where you are and use your strengths. And you can't go week to week like he did. Some games he ran the ball well, and other games he didn't do it. And you can't depend. You got to be consistent every week in what you do. And then you let the chips fall where they may. Oh, no pun intended there. You know, chips fall where they may. So anyway.
In closing, how would you want to wrap all this up, Coach?
Well,
Oh, give him a bag of chips.
there's always next year. I don't want no chips. I had enough of chips. Oh, what the hell's that? But in closing, I would
2
say
for 6.
there's always next year, as we all say when we don't win the last game of the year. So you just hope that next year they learn from this and that they learn how to, you know, there have to be a running team again next year. You get the best back in football, or one of the best. I mean, he's right there with. I don't see many backs that are better.
Just pound and penetrate.
And just pound and penetrate.
And Pierce.
And
Pierce.
When you pound and penetrate and you're on the field, and I know time of possession isn't important to Chip and all that stuff, but when you're on the field longer, you make the other team tired. You wear them out. And all these coaches come along now. They want to pass, have all these passing yards.
Give him another Captain Morgan to pound.
But you know what? In cold weather, it doesn't work. And you know what? This year's going to be interesting because the Super Bowl, I believe, is in the Meadowlands this year, if I'm right.
What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
Well, it's going to be cold weather now. We're not going to have any 70-degree dome stadium or 70, 80 degrees, you know, to where they play in Florida or California. It's the way, you know, football should be played in the elements no matter what. I don't even agree with the Super Bowl being played at a neutral site. The Super Bowl should be played at the team that hosts it. The team that hosts the Super Bowl should be the team with the best record when it comes down to the last two teams. I don't agree with football that they took it away from the everyday fan and they put it in a neutral site and people got to travel, all that. It should be played in the city that deserves it to be played in because it should be one of the home teams should have it in their city. I don't believe in this where it's played in California and both teams are from the East or the Midwest or whatever. So that's one thing that I don't agree with football.
All right. So
Do you think there was any one play in this game that was a turning point for the?
Well, I would say the missed field
turning
goal.
point, yeah.
Also the drop pass by Riley Cooper.
Coop.
Yes, that was a turning
That was a
point.
key play. I think.
That was a key play. It could have turned things around. And another thing I don't like football did with the rule changes is putting the goalpost back 10 yards, where they used to be up on the goal line, and then you can run post patterns and run someone in around that. That was kind of neat. And they did that to protect players, and they moved it back. Football's gotten away from being football. It's a mean, violent sport, and everybody today just wants to make it a business to make money. And they take all the joy out of it. There's not the hitting there was years ago.
So you agree with Ed Rendell that we've all become a bunch of wimps?
Wimps, wussies, whatever
Wussies.
he
Cream
says.
puffs.
Well,
Yes, we become a country of wimps and wussies. Cream puffs. Only because we gotten away from, like, I don't like it in every sport.
you want a cream puff?
No, I don't want a cream puff.
You want
Any
another piece of
sport,
pie?
no. In hockey, basketball, football, and baseball have all had rule changes I don't agree with. think they're making the sports, they're not as enjoyable as they once were. And it's frustrating.
I think we're going to have to take a break now for a Toyota commercial.
Oh, the Toyota commercials. Those great commercials, just like the Nationwide and the one with the babies in it. The baby.
Now, speaking of Toyota commercials, Jan's pretty hot, isn't she?
Oh, yeah. Oh, these great commercials they have. Well, it's another year. So, Fly Eagles Fly is over.
But it'll be back.
It'll be back. And next year,
It could be better.
it could be better. Who knows? We might be running the ball more.
Pound, pound, pound.
Bam,
Pound,
bam.
pound, pound.
Pounding and penetrating.
Remember, always in life, whether it's a game or the game of life every day, go play with your strength, improve your weaknesses. But don't go away from your strengths. Don't play more with the weaknesses until you use your strength as much as you can. And work on your weaknesses in the off season or the off days.
That is the world, according to Coach Rolls.
Or
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Rolls.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.